You've mentioned in session 8 that the intensity or quality of motivation for learning are determined by poverty stress, general levels of depression, and feelings of hopelessness. Can you share some perspectives about this with us?
Research indicates that mothers who have low levels of schooling are less likely to value social and emotional development, and often disregard the importance of bonding with their child during the first few years of life. Some of the major effects of this on the child will be a relationship with their parents which is in constant tension, a poor social life, an unsafe and abusive neighborhood. So how parents adapt to the stress of poverty may influence their motivational levels for new learning. The success of training for poor mothers targeting parenting behaviors will inevitably be constrained as long as the mothers themselves continue to be overwhelmed by feelings of depression, hopelessness, powerlessness, and social isolation. For any learning to take place, one needs to take these variables into account when planning your training and new learning processes.
It seems that poverty early in life often set into motion a consistent pattern of dysfunctional behaviors that are difficult to change once learned. Indeed, a challenge for parent training.
Indeed, yes, we are confronted with a challenging dilemma. Our children are caught up in 3 mutually reinforcing downward spirals all the time. Downward spiral 1. Those children who have early relationships characterized by violence and abuse often develop dysfunctional coping behaviors. Such behaviors may provoke repeated exclusion and an experience of rejection. Downward spiral 2. The experience of rejection and exclusion in turn may lead to negative life outcomes, such as substance abuse or gang involvement, to compensate for that inner experience of rejection. I am not good enough. Downward spiral 3. Poverty further intensifies the experience of exclusion and limits the possibilities for change. You see, when one involves the parent in training and new learning, one has to understand the basic emotional needs and attachment dynamics in such a context.
You've mentioned that the family realities of these children can change drastically from time to time. Surely this must be quite a challenge when it comes to parent training and new learning.
This is quite a dilemma. Children and families are often caught up in ever-changing family systems for different reasons. As an example, you work therapeutically with a mother and her child. After 4 or 5 weeks, the mother just moves out and stays with her boyfriend. Now the grandmother becomes the caretaker. She was not part of the therapeutic or learning process at all. It becomes a new system now, a kind of crisis system you have to work with. So all the training and therapeutic input was nullified. The only constant factor is the child, who is at the receiving end of all this. This reality has a lot of practical implications for your training approach and strategies. More about this in the next session.